what's good, what's happening. It don't matter where I go. People always ask about that, the men who think like me segment. They'll ask about the workout stuff. They'll ask about the hair salon. Then they'll ask about, hey, when you gonna do another men like who think like me segment? And I'm like, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it once a week. Cause again, I'm not every dude, but there are a lot of dudes who think like me. And again, you want somebody who's successful, who's driven, most importantly, God-fearing, who won't cheat on you, who won't mess around on you, and pretty much think in terms of us as a team and as a squad. Once you can find yourself and identify that type of dude, you good. Versus just, well, I'm going to see how this goes. And not really have a strategy. See, a lot of people go into stuff not being strategic about getting what they want. They just kind of like float into something. Just, somebody holler at you and you just go. Boom! You just go. As soon as somebody holler at you, there's no strategy behind. I'm not saying, be manipulative, but know what you want. And get the quality and the type of person you deserve versus just floating to the first thing that hollers at you. You know what I'm saying? So I was reading through and I was asking basically something to the effect of, I asked this on the other page, how close are you to getting what you want, and tell me some of the things that you want out of life. And a lot of the responses on the fan page came back, I want a relationship. I want me a relationship. A whole bunch of people said, I want a relationship. And I said within myself, I got $10 saying they're not strategic about going after what they want. So I'm gonna give you some insight, and I'm gonna give you different ways to think about things. Because one of the things, it is so funny because when I got down here to Atlanta, I had never heard of people not having relationships in years, not being out on a date in years. I was just like, what? What they do that? Because since I was 16 years old, I'd always had somebody, regardless of, how it worked out. I'd always had somebody, or I had somebodies. That was during my pimp phase. But I'd always had, a whole bunch of folks. So if something didn't work out, I was still good. And so I was just like, you know what? I bet you people don't have strategy. See, I have strategies for everything, no matter if it's business, working out, marketing. I have strategies for everything in my life. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I've never been alone. So let me give you some stuff to think about, okay? And when I say some stuff, you're gonna be like, oh dang, because again, I'm very strategic about my stuff. I mean, all phases of life. Again, I see stuff first before I do it, then I do it. Okay, first thing you have to do. Again, remember the other day I was talking about how life and relationships, or your business, your family, anything and everything is based upon running your life like you're the CEO of it. You have to do that. Okay, but again, life is a sport, and life is basically business. Life is a business. Life is a business. And when you start treating life like a business, then it becomes more systematic. Then you can make your moves versus being a victim of somebody else's decision. I'm going to show you how to pretty much be in control of your stuff. First move. And I heard this from Jim Rohn years ago, and it makes so much sense. Jim Rohn is kind of like, the Tony Robbins, the Les Browns of the world. He's a motivational, inspirational speaker. He's a self-development guru. One of the first things he said, and this is so true, in order for you to attract attractive things, you first have to make yourself attractive. I'm going to say that again. In order for you to get and attain attractive things, you first have to make yourself attractive. Okay? Let me give you the male perspective. The straight up, the honest male perspective. When we see you, we just don't say as dudes, man, I bet you she has an awesome personality. Let's keep it real, okay? No, we don't say that. We say, whoo, that body banging. That's the first thing we see. And depending upon what body part type of man we are, yeah. So it's like with me, I'm a chest and booty dude. So if you got yourself together and you got that, you got me. Now that's the first move. Make yourself attractive from the standpoint of the physical. Okay? Get your physical stuff right first, because again, anybody who tells you that they feel in love with your personality is telling you a lie. Straight up lie. Now, let me also say this too, because there's two stages to this deal. Okay, because I know a lot of gorgeous women who have nice bodies who can't keep a dude. Now, they got the first part right in terms of getting the body right and getting your body attractive and keeping it tight and looking good, and making it attractive to attract the upscale man. You know what I'm saying? The different level, the higher quality male, okay? But you also have to make your personality, you have to make that attractive too. So that's what people fall short. That's where a lot of women fall short. They get the first part right, but then they won't work on the personality. They won't work on their drive. Because again, I always say this. Again, do you know of a woman or women who can easily attract dudes, but after a few dates or after a few months, they always getting broken up with? And then they get on the Facebook page and they always talk about men, and men ain't this, and I need to upgrade. And it's always like that probably every 2 or 3 months. Okay. See, it's kind of like this. Every dude will hit, but very few men will commit. We'll hear. That's a given because of the physicality. We'll hit you. We'll do that. But it's another thing to commit to you. Again, most dudes have the mentality of, I will hit, but I won't commit. But you say, okay, how do I get somebody to commit to me? Okay, that personality piece and that drive piece, and it just showing that you can be a great teammate, because honestly, that's what we're looking for as men. A great teammate, somebody who can help us, and make us good as a squad. Because again, we've always, as men, were brought up in sports. So we know the importance of teamwork, and we know the importance of having a great teammate who's going to help us move the ball down the field, especially when you get to a certain age. That's very, very, very important. But let's go back to sports. If you've ever watched the NFL or NBA draft, that's pretty much relationship. That's pretty much how a relationship pretty much works. Let me explain a little bit deeper. See, in an NFL draft, they always draft based upon the needs of the team. So if the team needs a quarterback, they'll draft a quarterback. If they need a running back, they'll draft a running back. If they need a receiver, they'll draft a receiver. That's how a relationship is. See, we as dudes, we draft based upon needs, especially when you get to a certain level of understanding that, dang, this relationship could actually make me better. Because we all have that aha moment. Okay, so let's get back to the business piece of it and showing you how it all correlates and how it all ties in. Now, the NFL, you draft based upon needs. Okay, but one of the greatest things I ever heard came from Apollo Ron Carpenter Jr. in Greenville, South Carolina. And I was sitting in the back, and he said, if you can address a need, if you can solve a problem, you'll never be out of work. If you can solve people's problems, you'll always be in demand. But it also goes back to making yourself attractive as a person. So if I'm an attractive person and I position myself as a person who can help you move the ball down the field and fill your needs, guess what? I got you. And that's how you have to position yourself. Make yourself attractive, but also become the person that person needs. And that's why the people who get that, who learn how to make themselves attractive, but also make themselves necessary and position themselves to be, that person who can fill a need. That's why they're always in demand. Have you ever seen a bigger woman who don't have relationships? A big woman who don't have problems in relationships versus super sexy, always in and out of relationships or don't have anybody? That's why they have somebody. They position themselves to be that person who can fill a need, who can solve a problem, who can really be a helpmate. Because again, I've dated some of the finest women on the planet, and that beauty tends to fade after 2 or 3 months of looking at it all the time. So you have to have something that's going to keep you there. It's one thing to get somebody, but it's another thing to be able to keep somebody. That's why you always have to work on self, and you always have to position yourself as being that person who can solve problems, who can stand out by doing a little bit more. It's that little bit more that gets you who you want. Not only get you who and what you want, but get you that ring and get you that commitment. Because again, at the end of the day, if you get you somebody like me who's driven, who sees the larger picture and sees the value of family, you're good. But again, it goes back to you qualifying who and what you want versus just going and hanging out with the first person who hollers at you. See, that's how you have to be very strategic in your dating. Because again, just because somebody hollers at you, don't mean that you have to holler back or respond back. If you know that they ain't about that life and they ain't about that commitment and all they want to do is just pop you a couple times, just go ahead and just, go ahead and disqualify them. Because again, you're the CEO of your company and you want somebody to share your business with who can help you get better. But again, first move, you got to make yourself attractive in all phases of life. Get your body right, stand out. And again, you stand out by, again, making your personality attractive, serving and being able to position yourself as a person of interest who can solve problems, who can become that helpmate, who can be that person who basically says, you know what, this is how I separate myself from everybody else. It's not about me. I remember one time I was in a relationship one time, and we were having a discussion, and we were just talking, and she was like, well, I feel like this and I feel like that, and I feel like. And so what I was doing was, at the time, I was listening to her, but I was writing stuff down on my pad. And she looked at me and she was like, what are you doing? I said, what I'm doing is I'm writing down the amount of times you said I in me. You had 95 I's in me's and only 2 we's in us. That's what we look at when we're trying to pick the woman to put that ring on, that finger. We want somebody that's a team player. We want somebody that's going to add to us and not subtract. We want somebody who's going to multiply us as a family and not divide. So again, when you can position yourself as a must-have versus a nice-to-have, you will win 10 times out of 10. And I'm sitting here reading. Let's see. Sinitria says, I'm just too darn picky. You're going to have a problem if you're picky all the time. Let me help you out with that. Because I used to be like you. Let me help you. And this will help you out immensely. If you are the picky person who always finds fault with people, who always finds something wrong with that person, you will be lonely. You will have a hard life. You will not find, because again, you got to understand, I'm going to shoot you straight as a man. Okay. The older you get, the harder it's going to be for you and that person. Because again, if you're always picky, you're always going to find something. But again, you got to realize you ain't getting younger. So if you in your 30s, you got to compete with that 25-year-old. If you're in your 40s, like myself, you got to compete with the 35 and 30-year-olds. Okay? So you can't necessarily be real picky. Because you pushing, if you in your 40s, a man looks at you in your 40s as if you getting close to 50. Let me be clear straight on that. So you ain't got time to be just finding out people. Again, you moving on up like the Jeffersons. So you just can't be dismissing somebody just because they picked their teeth or they didn't call when they say they're gonna call. This is what you have to do. Let me give you something good. Because again, I feel like you. Pick the top 3 things that's important to you. And if a person has those 3 qualities, keep them. Okay? Others you can kind of work around, but the 3 important things that are important to you that are not deal breakers, hang on to that. You know, for a lot of people, it has to be God. You know, God has to be first, and God should be first. No, God, don't even worry about it. You done disqualified yourself. Because I know, I've never dated a person who didn't believe in God. And that's the other piece too. You know, and people don't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it because, you know, I don't care. Find somebody that you're equally, and this is going to be important too, find somebody that you're equally yoked to, and I'm not just talking about you're a Christian, I'm a Christian. No. We need to be about on the same level of life. Again, if I'm a 10 in all of my stuff, or if I'm an 8, I need to find somebody who's in that same realm. If I'm an 8, I need to find me an 8. So we can be an 8 together. Okay? We can be 8 together. We can elevate and we can move on up together. We can move up together and push each other to that 10. Okay? But if you are a 10 and you're dating a 5, that basically as a couple makes you a 7.5. So that means that they have brought you down in value. They have brought down your stock. They have brought down your stock. So you have to find somebody that's on, because again, if let's switch again. Let's say you feel like you're a 5 and they're a 10, and I'm just gonna shoot you straight. At some point, if they're a 10 and you're a 5, they gonna wake up one day and they gonna say, I can do better. Especially if you giving them some mouth. If you fussing and you nagging all the time, they gonna have that epiphany of, dang, I'm the 10, she the 5. Bump all of this, because now you done went from a 5 to a 3. And then somebody gonna say, well, shoot, I can do better. So get with somebody who's in your league. Then again, y'all can promote each other and move up together. Versus you being a 10, you getting with a 5 just because you're afraid of being by yourself. Never settle. I don't care how long you have to wait. Never Never, 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 never settle. Let's see. Raquel says, where do you go to find men of valor? Good relationship with God, they seem to be missing from the church. Where do men go? Let me tell you where men like me go. We go to ball games. We go to events that will further us. It could be that chamber event. It could be an event where, high-end people go. See, people like me, dudes like me, we don't waste time. Because when you get to be a certain age, you done did all of that. So you just don't waste time. Because at this stage of life, time is more money. Time is more important than money at this point. You know what I'm saying? So we want to go somewhere that's going to either entertain us or further us. Most of the time, men like me go to events that will further us, that will help us make those connections with other people who can help our business, our career. So those events, those awesome events that you have in your city, we have a lot here in Atlanta. We always have a lot of stuff going on, events where people network and get together, because you want to find like-minded people. You want to find people who are flowing in the same direction as you. So that little thing doesn't for I'm a Christian, you're a Christian, goes back to having the same aspirations. We both, no matter what field we're in, like with me, I'm the world's greatest, actually I'm probably one of the world's greatest entrepreneurs. And I date an assistant principal, actually about to marry an assistant principal. But again, we connect really nicely because I'm aspiring to do bigger and better things, and she's aspiring to be a principal versus her just settling and being like, okay, I'm good being here. So both of us are flowing toward a higher goal and a bigger vision. So you need somebody who's going to flow with you and get bigger with you, because I've seen people, and I've personally done it, I've seen people outgrow their relationship. We started here, but they got complacent. I kept going here. They're still there. And what do we do when a person is here and we're, ascending to greatness? We'll look back down, and then we'll go back down to where they are, and we'll stop our stuff because we don't want to leave somebody. We want to make anybody feel bad. Again, that's why you have to get with somebody equally yoked and get with somebody who's trying to improve, who reads books, who goes to seminars, who's constantly trying to improve versus always trying to stay the same. Because if they're trying to stay the same, they're going to get offended when you're not trying to stay the same. When you're trying to grow, insecurities will pop up and it will rear its ugly head when you're going to the top and they're still complacent and satisfied with where they are. You have to find people who are trying to move just like you. You know what I'm saying? That's important. I mean, so important. Lipa, so if I'm an 8 and I want a 10, do I wait until I get myself together? Yes. I used to be that person. I used to be that 7. Okay? I used to be that 7/8 because I was real honest about, where I was in life. And I knew I was a 7. One thing about me, I've always known and was always honest with what my current condition was. See, I always knew I was going to be a 10. See, that's my permanent position. I always knew what end was going to be. But again, I knew that was a process. There were women I would not date because I knew that they were 10 and they were complete and they were finished. But I was 7 and I was 8. So I wasn't even going to waste my time and her time because I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be and I wasn't going to waste nobody's time. Because I knew I wasn't where I was supposed to be financially. I knew I still had some playing around in me. So I'm not going to drag people into, my stuff. So again, if you, I always say, become what you aspire to date. You know, a lot of people have these long lists of, I want a man who has a college degree. I want a man who makes 6 figures. I want a man who does this, go to church, does this, does that. But half of the stuff that you require of men, you don't have yourself. So that's kind of unfair, because we think about that too. You're requiring us to feel this prototype when you don't. So again, I always say, become who you want to date. Become a 10. And don't touch that 10 until you feel like in your spirit that you are a 10, that you have maxed out and that you have become that person. When you do that, then you're good. But if you still like you're a work in progress and you ain't there and you ain't nowhere close, and again, we think about that. We know you want to keep on too. So again, because that's the first thing we gonna think of whenever you start acting a character, you act crazy. Dudes be like, look, I'm a 10. I got my stuff together. Shoot, I'm a multi-millionaire. Shoot, I got this, I got that. I can do this. I can go anywhere in the world, and you giving me, and you a 5. We think about that. So make sure, if you want a 10, make sure you become a 10 before you chase after that 10. That's important. Because again, I wouldn't even, back in the day, I would not even holler at a 10 if I knew in my heart I was a 7 and I knew I had work to do. And I knew I wasn't fulfilling my own requirements, much less fulfilling the expectations of somebody else. You know, that's real. So, again, make yourself attractive. Physically, spiritually, self-improvement wise. And again, that's what's attractive. I'm telling you, a woman who just isn't satisfied with where they are in life and want more, sexy. That's sexy. That right there is sexy. And again, remember, that's the difference. That right there is the difference between somebody hitting you and somebody committing to you. Again, we'll hit anything, but we won't commit to everything. So again, when you fulfill a need and you position yourself as that need and as that go-to person who can help us as a family together, then you've separated yourself from 95% of the population. Again, you have to position yourself as a must-have and not a nice to have. There's a difference. A must-have, you'll go ahead and purchase very, very quickly. And again, for better or worse, we are a brand, we are a product. When you make yourself that brand that's a must-have, think about stuff that you're in a hurry to go buy. You know, the latest bag or the latest shoes or the latest technology or whatnot. And when they position it as something that's rare, when people, and I'm talking business now, when people make their products a must-have and they make it scarce, kind of like, you know, how people be like, okay, well, if you do this in the next 10 minutes, we'll also, when you make that thing attractive, people will buy quickly. Versus, I ain't got to make a move on that. It'll still be there. That's why a lot of dudes be like, you know, I just ain't ready right now. Because they always figure that they'll always figure that once other stuff blow up and it don't work out, you'll still be around. And that's because basically you've positioned yourself as a nice to have versus a must have versus, you know, a product that can sell out quickly. Again, when you position yourself as something or somebody or a product that can sell out quickly, then it puts pressure on us as dudes to basically be like, you know what? I better hurry up and do something. I better go ahead and admit this. Again, say everything I want and somebody else might get it. So I better hop on this very, very quickly. Again, make yourself a must have versus a nice to have. That's how it gets done. So I just had to drop that on you. I hope that you enjoyed it. We're going to do this every week because, again, it makes no sense for you to be bad and banging and fine and by yourself. I just can't, fathom you being, having all this goodness going on, all that fineness and that gorgeousness and all that curviness, but you don't know how to parlay that into getting what you want. That's life about. It's about leveraging and basically getting what you want out of life. Leverage is a beautiful thing when you know how to use leverage. Leverage yourself to get everything you want. But again, a lot of people have the tools but don't have the blueprint in terms of making that thing work. So I hope that was helpful for you. And we'll do more of this because I like to give a man's perspective on what we look for and things of that nature. So that's what's up. That's what's up. Congratulations, 16 years. That's what's up. Congratulations. That's beautiful. So love y'all. Have an awesome day. Let's get it.